Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, I wanted to go through arena teams. It's been heavily requested in some of my other videos. People want to see what my defense formation, what I am using as free to play. Now, I am staying in champion. Just keep in mind, this is very heavily RNG based on your server, how many whales you have and stuff like that. So I am very fortunate. I made a whole video talking about the issues with servers if you want to go have a look at that. But in general, I just wanted to go through my thoughts on arena and formations. Now, if you're looking at the other arena mode, which is the Supreme Arena, I'm not at a point where I stress about this too much. I am waiting until, and I'm not really going to stress about this too much at all, until we hit the point where I'm at 471. That's when it starts to balance out and become more even. At the moment, level difference is such a massive difference in this mode that I just genuinely don't care. As long as I can just pop myself into the top 100 at the end of the day, that's pretty much just good enough for me. I just have not stressed too far here. I will dive deeper into the Supreme Arena in the future, but like I said, for free to play at the moment, I don't stress too much about it until we get to that sort of level balancing where it becomes a bit more of an even game, because at the moment it is too heavily level dependent. Just choose your two best teams, which I'll go through those teams and try and beat them on the offense. Now, the first thing I want to go through is my defense, because it's something that people have been asking for a lot. I'm going to have some thoughts about defense, and then I'll go through the two main progression teams that you're going to be using as free to play in your offense as well. So if we go to my formation here, this is my arena defense. It is just the Iron team. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's just Thorin, Carolina, Iron, Damien, and Arden. And I use the control spell, the confining spell. Now, when I'm on offense, often I will use the enlightening spell to keep my Arden immune to the enemy's control spell, and then retaliate with Arden's control as opposed to using artifact control. But it's a bit more niche and stuff like that, so I just put the control one in here. It's kind of the safe bet. And this team, basically, because I will go through the Rainier swap team, and this team protects my units from being swapped by Rainier. No one's really going to do that. That meta has kind of shifted now anyway. It's not too much of a deal, but like I said, this is just a basic, standard, solid team. Now, there are other units I would definitely experiment, and I'm going to show you some other people's defenses that I could probably create as well that are working really well for people, and I struggle with by using this cleave team. So in my server, there's not many Scarlita players either. A lot of people run into Scarlita. That's like a whole nother kettle of fish when you get into whale servers. Just quickly in editing, because I forgot to mention it, a very important thing about this team is this is a much later on free-to-play team that you will be using, because you basically need everyone to be Mythic Plus. The ones that must be Mythic Plus, in my opinion, are going to be Iron, because he groups at the start of battle with his Mythic Plus, Arden, because he provides so much extra control, and Damien, because he provides the haste and also the healing, which is fantastic. Now, Carolina really wants to be Mythic Plus, at least, to get the damage. Obviously, Supreme Plus is going to be even better for her, but you can replace her on defense with something like a Huon if you have a decently built Huon, so keep that in mind. And then Thorin wants to be Mythic Plus as well, so you get his link, you get the extra life, you get the damage mitigation, but if you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. The most vital one is Iron, then I think Arden and Damien are the most important past that. But we will look at the Rainier team in a minute as well, which is a much more free-to-play, early on type option where you only need one Mythic Plus character. But in general, this is just my general defense team. It's just a solid team that can get RNG and can slap people if they come at it and don't go to and just aren't prepared for it. And sometimes, you know, Thorin might just tap everyone. I get lucky saves with Damien heals. It's just an all-round solid team. So that is my defense. Now, other units that I find great on defense, I've heard a lot of people say that they think Vala is just an offense-only unit. I hate attack. I basically never attack Vala teams. I'll do some offenses here against these types of teams and show you guys what I mean. But I find Vala to be one of the most frustrating units to attack when I'm using my Iron team. She's just so horrible. Even though I get her to target Iron, who is linked to Thorin, she can still bounce around, avoid everything, and then snipe my whole team. It's incredibly frustrating. Florabelle is another one that's been getting great usage in PvP. Another one is Lucius. If I hadn't invested Lucius, I'd probably be using the guy in PvP because he works pretty well. But that is my defense. Let's go into quickly talking about the two offense teams that we have. Now, the two main offense teams you're going to look at is, once again, me using this kind of team. And as you can see, this enemy here, they've got the Vala. So this team, I've seen this team with basically using, instead of the Igor, this team using a Lucius is also really potent. This Vala Cecilia team, as free-to-play players, if you have a built Vala, it does require that well-built Vala, but it can be incredibly frustrating to deal with, especially with the Rowan. When I'm using this cleave team, we might just go ahead and attack it just so I can show you guys why these kind of defenses is really frustrating. But this is like, you know, it's a super frustrating one. I struggle super bad with enemy Valas, and I'm going to show you here. Even though, keep in mind, the one I want Vala to attack is my Euron, and he is linked to my Thorin, so he's going to mitigate a ton of damage. Now, I am going to go ahead and swap this to control spell because we do have 2 back row enemies that are going to be a threat. Well, we basically got 3 threats on this team. I'm just going to do it because as the battle draws out, if we get later into the battle, this is going to be clutch. It does mean I'm going to be later getting my Arden's ult, but that's okay. It should be fine. So let's go ahead, and I just want to show you guys why I hate Vala on defense. So there we go. We do the group up. We get controlled. There we go. Vala, especially with that Rowan, she's already teleported, and my Carolina is already dead. Now, that is heavily because the enemy team does have that Igor who can bounce around and be frustrating as well. But as you can see, my Euron is only still just alive, and this type of team... Now, the Igor is more of a frustrating one, but once again, even though I had Vala targeting the Euron who was linked to Thorin, which is what I wanted to get, these teams just absolutely punish me, and then by the time Vala's done being annoying, you get Cecilia who just absolutely collapse. So I just completely avoid those types of teams. I think they are fantastic defenses, and like I said, if you don't have Eagle, running that team with a Lucius is also fantastic. But that is my main offense team, and so I've try and use it against teams that I feel pretty safe to attack. Now, I did record one before, like just before recording this video, because I wanted to demonstrate. I thought it was going to be a win, and we got tapped. But this is against a just full tanky team with only 1 DPS, and essentially what I did was Actually, you know what? It's going to be too hard to do that. Let's just jump into another battle and I'll show you guys the team. But essentially, the formation is something like this. So against enemy teams like this, what you can do, and I'm not going to do it because once again, it's a Vala team and I'm just going to lose, and I'm happy to tank my rating a bit for a video, but not that much. But against enemy teams like this, where say Cecilia is your major threat, what you end up doing is you put, make your back row unit, normally it's my Odie, and then we have Rainier swap. That means Odie doesn't get swapped because we've got the Enlightening spell on him. And then the enemy Cecilia gets dragged over. We basically tap her ASAP, and then it's GG's from there. And that's pretty much the strategy that you use against these types of teams that don't have Vala. Because once again, Vala just makes everything frustrating, and I just absolutely hate attacking Vala. And once again, Lucius is actually a great unit if you have some investment into him. But that is the other kind of offense that you would use. The one catch with this offense, and you can use anything else for your other unit, doesn't really matter. The one other thing with this offense is that you don't want to be using a Rowan, because Rowan will give Odie his energy too fast if you have Odie at 10 exclusive equipment, and that will make Odie use his ult on the tank instead of the unit that gets teleported. So this is, I've done a whole video on this team, but this team is very strong as well. And I just want to show you guys that team in practice when we go over here. We take a look at this team that I did. As you can see, these ones were defense losses. Dude started farming me. But let's go over here and take a look at this one. And this one is the perfect example of why Thorin is just OP and why you should basically always have Thorin in a team. So as you can see here, I teleported the enemy Cecilia. Now, I had to do it differently because Cecilia was so far forward. I actually used Viperion in my team so that I could swap and keep everyone on my side because I needed Odie to kill it. But as you can see here, it looks like we're pretty much good from there because, you know, we got the main threat out of the way. Now the enemy doesn't have any threats, but as soon as my Thorin dropped, as you can see, the enemy Thorin gets right in on the rest of my team, and now we are in a massive pickle. We even teleport Thorin away, and you think, okay, sweet, we should be in a better position. Unfortunately, not the case, because as soon as that enemy Thorin comes back, because this enemy team is so tanky, we don't have the damage, and this is where I needed my Thorin to be tanking the enemy Thorin the whole time, because you'll see that this enemy Thorin just goes boom. And unfortunately, we used the Smoky ult for damage, which was like the worst timing. If that ult waited, we would have been fine because we wouldn't have got all the retaliation damage. But as you can see, enemy Thorin just taps me, and it is GG's, game over. So Thorin is once again a massive unit on defense. Pretty much any team wants to have a Thorin in the defense. Now, if we take a look at some more teams, we can take a look here. So this one is me. Okay, this is me on the offense. Once again, just using my standard grouping team. You can see this enemy team used a Viperion and Sacia team. This is a very not so meta team that we are fighting here. You can see this is me over here. Wait, is this... Maybe this was his offense. Okay, this is him losing to my defense. So this is a look at my defense in operation. Dude, I hate that you can't filter it by offense defense. And you can see we do get pretty low, but that Damien healing is just so huge to keep us going through stuff. And then we have the control. And once again, that was a big chunk of Thorin damage as well. And often that's what happens with this team. It looks like you might lose and then you just come back and you train it. So let's take a look at a couple more. Let's look at this one. This might be another... I don't know, is this my defense? Let's have a look. So this team is using a Vala. Now, is this my offense or my defense? So this is my defense again. So once again, highlighting my defense team here, we group them up and okay, they teleported my Arden over by the looks of it. And somehow my Arden survived that whole time. GG's. Well played, Arden. Dude, Arden tanked like a boss is pretty much what happened there. So that was an interesting one. Let's go back to another one. A Mayhem. Let's take a look. This one, is this my offense or my defense? Let's take a look. This is my defense again. Once again, grouping up. The Thorin moving forward. Euron coming into the mix as well. Everyone else staying back pretty decently. Was this the Arden teleport one again? Dude, I can't even see. But yeah, I mean, enemy Vala gets cooked. Like I said, enemy Valas, I feel like Vala is like just so potent on defense. I know people are using her in offense as well, and she's really strong because you can counter specific things, but I find her to be one of the most frustrating defense units to fight against. But once again, I think for free-to-play players, you have two main options for your arena teams. You have the swap team, where you're basically swapping the enemy DPS over with Rainier and then nuking the enemy DPS so that there's no more threats. You've got to be careful of Thorins on that though. And then the other one is the grouping team once you get them to Mythic. Before you get a Mythic plus Odie, you're pretty much looking at Sacia teams. And that's pretty much it. Like there's not much else you're getting around. Most people are using Sacia. If you have something else built, you're just sort of making it work. But in that early phase, it's not too stressful. Like I said, it's more once you start getting characters built that you can start forming proper teams because everyone's account is going to be different in the early days of the arena. But that is a basic look of what I'm using in arena. Now, I want to see if there's someone here who had the Lucius team that I can demonstrate because there was some people that I was losing to using the Lucius combo. So this is another Vala one. You'll find every time you see a Vala, I'm just getting absolutely slapped. She's just so painful to try and deal with. Let's see. I tried a couple different formations again. Okay, so here is one. This is the team I wanted to show you guys. This defense team I absolutely love. As you guys saw before, I did one team against the team that had Igor instead of Lucius. But Lucius with Rowan with Thorin as a tanking core is just absolutely phenomenal. So let's go ahead and let's put this on 1x speed so you can see. So I separated my characters. This was me experimenting things because when I lose to a defense that I think I have a chance with, I will experiment with different things. The previous replay, I wasn't so grouped. I was just trying to keep everyone away from that big hit, and I thought we were going to do it right because I was trying to keep everyone away from the Sacia ult. Unfortunately, my Carolina still got hit from it, which sucked, and as you can see, we just take a ton of damage, and as soon as my Euron drops, it's just GG's. That Vala is going to shred the rest of my team, and there ain't nothing I can do. Even though Euron, I tried to keep heavily protected, and like I said, these type of defense team, if you have a Vala, like this is nothing special. Like this is not a crazy team. Everyone builds Sorin, everyone has a Rowan, you don't need heavy investment. Most people have a Sacia built. There's your core 3. Lucius, ideally you want some more investment, but he can work lower. And then Vala is the big one. So once again, I think Vala is a very important PvP unit. But that is just what we're looking at. And also, don't be afraid to refresh and even attack lower guys if you're afraid of the higher guys. Just keep in mind, with the lower guys, if you do lose, you lose a lot more points. So keep that in mind as well, because that is definitely something you've got to consider. So once again, I avoid anything that has the Huon in it when I'm doing mirror matches, but they have Huon instead of any of the other units. I normally avoid it because I find that just to be a tricky defense to work around, and I find they always just outlast me and I don't have the damage. Now, if I had Supreme Plus on all my units and I had extra investment into their exclusive equipment to get the extra raw stats, then it would be a different story. But once again, this one here, you can see this enemy. This is a good chance for me to try my strategy. So in this one here, we're going to try something different. You can see they're using the controlling spell. the confining spell, I am going to try using enlightening spells so that I can use my Arden to root. Now, I do think we are still going to lose this, just purely they have higher investment by the looks of just pure raw power. But let's see how we go. I'm curious to see how this plays, because this is another thing I do like experimenting with, is using that enhancing enlightening spell to avoid the CC so that I can get a full board CC on with my Arden. So let's go ahead and see. Once again, this one's a toss of the coin on who's going to win, because it is pretty much just that mirror match thing going on, and we'll just have to see. So we'll leave it on one time speed. You can see Arden immune to that CC. He's getting his energy up. We should get the heals out pretty soon from the Damien, which is going to be clutch, because we need those heals to come up as soon as possible. You can see their back row is away from the healing. Our back row is away from the healing as well. We've got the enemy Thorin down his first life. Now the enemy Arden comes in. We do get controlled. Now I need my... unfortunately, we do get hit by that lightning bolt, and we lose Carolina. So my Carolina unfortunately missed out on her ultimate, which was really costly. It would have got a good chunk of extra damage out. Now we need Arden to get the heals from this as soon as possible, so we don't lose him as well to anything annoying. And as you can see, as soon as Damien's cart comes out, it becomes GG's from there on. So once again, these types of matches, especially these mirror matches, are very, very, like, it's just like toss the coin. But I have found in general, I like using my my immunity spell over the other one, because I find the control one is I like on defense, but when I can control something like this, I like doing it. Now these type of teams I don't even bother with. Like Sylvina is another really annoying unit that can be frustrating to deal with on defense. Timor's defense is really good, one that I struggle with. I don't attack any of the top 5. These guys are just way too cooked for me. Let's see what Grillo is normally a top 5, I think. Once again, he has got the Huon comp. And once again, this is the one that I find the most threatening as opposed to Carolina. It's when you drop the Carolina for the Huon, and now you have double healers, heavy control, another control, and like a really, really solid tank with damage. And this team just outlasts me. Because keeping in mind, with defense, you don't actually have to win either. You just have to outlast them. And this team is super, super tricky to deal with. So I ain't going to attack into that. We'll go in and we'll see if we can find another one. I always try and attack the higher plays anyway. It's just what I like to aim for. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's try this one out of curiosity, just to see how we can go. But once again, I do think that the problem is here that we will get done by the survivability that the enemy team will have. I might actually leave it like this so that my Carolina might have more of a chance to survive against it. My Arden is going to immune the CC. Hopefully, he can survive long enough to use his ultimate. So let's go ahead and test this one. But this is going to be a good example of why I hate attacking Huon teams, because you'll see they'll probably just simply outlast me, because Huon has the quick heal along with an amazing ultimate heal, and that is what's really going to cost us. So as you can see, everyone getting super, super low already. My Arden's going to get his ult off, which is going to be clutch, because having the first ult is really nice to get that extra control, because now we send the roots out. But now everyone's getting healing from from both Damiens as well. And now it's a matter of if Carolina can get her ult off, because you can see she keeps getting hit by the lightning, which is kind of threatening. I mean, this one just worked a bit better. Normally it doesn't work like that, but hey, I'm gonna take the W if we get it. Surely we have this. Arden's out of the range of that hit. I'm sure of it. Yes. The problem is with Thorin, even when it's at a stage like that, I'm still worried that Thorin's going to tap my whole team. But he was facing the wrong direction, so we were pretty safe. But that one actually worked pretty decently. And now we move into the top 20 with that one, which isn't too bad. But like I said, especially when you get to this mirror match stage, it's just so iffy on a lot of the battles. What have you got? Let's do another one just so we can have a look. That's a Violet team. Once again, I don't mess with Violet teams. Violet teams are the worst. So let's go here again. Let's take another look. I believe this was another Okay, so this is another Violet team. Dude, the Violet, especially this Lucius team, dude, honestly, it's more threatening than the grouping team, in my opinion. You know what, let's just do it. Let's just have a look so you guys can get an idea. So we're going to go with our standard grouping team so you can see the way this stuff absolutely slaps me. Once again, that Rowan is super frustrating on these types of teams. And then we got the Cecilia, who's another big issue because she will go ahead and clap me. Now, in this one, I do like using this as well. We might actually try this one, just to see if we can lock out that Cecilia. I haven't tested the chaining against this enemy Cecilia. So that's what I want to test. I want to see if we can use the confining spell into the roots and avoid Cecilia getting her ultimate. That's what I really want to see, but I think we will miss timing on it. So let's just go ahead and experiment with this. Once again, that's that. Yes, Carolina there. You there, you there. So this way, the reason I go with a formation like this is, this should make my Carolina and my Arden out of range of the enemy Arden's, so the enemy Thorin's ultimate. And this also makes Damien's healing should be able to hit everyone. And once again, we do have the enemy Vala attacking my Iron, which is what we are looking for. Now, once again, we are checking to see in this team, because we are going to get our 2 DPS controlled by the enemy spell, and they're not going to have their Vala controlled. So hopefully we can survive. And the idea is hopefully we can use our confining spell on the Cecilia into Arden's ultimate before Cecilia gets an ult off. Because if Cecilia gets an ult off, we just lose. So let's just have a look at this one. So normally I would use that other spell and just immune Arden so I can get the roots out. But let's go ahead and see how this pans out. So there's us being rooted. Enemy Cecilia is still low on energy by the looks of this energy bar. I think that's hers. We should be getting Arden before her. So here comes Arden. Now, is she going to get the ult off before the roots come out? It looks like she might. Yeah, so unfortunately, she gets that ult, you can see, just before the roots come out. And that actually, did that interrupt our Arden roots? I don't think it did, but that is enough that's going to cost us the entire battle. So like I said, these enemy teams with Vala and super tanky, because now you can see our Iron is gone and that Vala just shreds the entire team. So even though we do have Damien for the extra sustain, we have... There you go. There's Vala just going ham essentially. But even though we have that Damien for extra sustain, we have the Iron linked, and Iron also is pretty generally tanky in himself. We just don't have what we need to actually get through a Vala like this. And there you go. You can see we're pretty much just capped here. There's nothing to do. So in general, I think Vala, I've heard a lot of people say that Vala is a offense only unit. I think Vala is one of the most potent defense units that I just completely struggle with. If you guys got a good strat for Vala, let me know. I will update you guys on more arena videos, but I just wanted to go through that because it has been highly asked for, just to go through some of my arena, defense, offense, and stuff like that. Like I said, mine is pretty basic. I'm not doing anything crazy. Once again, my heroes are not heavily invested. When you take a look at them, you can see their exclusive equipments aren't crazy. My most invested is probably that Iron at Supreme Plus. And then, everyone else is kind of just not that crazy yet. You can see we're at Supreme, Mythic Plus. We're not crazy invested, but it's good enough for what I want to achieve, and that's why I am still saving everything. But that is a look at Arena. Sorry for rambling for so long, but hopefully that helped a little bit. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.